Hello, everyone. This is Justin Smythe from nextbigtrade.com. This is your focus watch list for December 15th, 2023. On the focus watch list this week, there's multiple precious metals, mining stocks, and some solar stocks. These are two sectors that have underperformed in 2023, but are now taking heavy volume in stage one bases, or in the case of solar, really after a very beat up stage four downtrend where the stocks are all of a sudden taking massive volume coming out of a deep correction low. The precious metals have essentially had multiple failed moves higher this year, with the US dollar remaining kind of buoyant, but now with the dollar potentially rolling over into stage four, things might change dramatically for the precious metals. So starting out with MUX, on the weekly chart, you can see we're taking an increase in volume here. We've got a basing pattern. We're basically set up right to break out into stage two. And then dropping down to the daily chart, again, kind of gapping up on volume at the end of the week last week. We're right at resistance. So we're right at a point where the stock can follow through. And you can see the range here is a lot tighter recently too, compared to the erratic nature of the trading, especially over the summer and heading into the fall. So we've got a tighter pattern here to finally break out of and move into stage two. SA is another mining stock. You can see the massive volume coming in here in its stage one base. On the daily chart, again, big pickup in volume. You can see more closely over the last couple of weeks. NEM is another kind of bellwether mining stock in the sector. Again, big cluster of volume on the right-hand side of its stage one base. This is what tends to lead to stage two breakouts, as Stan Weinstein talks about in the book. And on the daily chart, you've got a gap up higher recently, but we're right at a breakout level above the 30-week moving average. AG is a silver mining stock, definitely beat down, but you can see an increase in volume in its stage one base, basically in the same similar position as NEM, set up for breakout. Finally, another silver miner, PAAS, showing an increase in volume on the right-hand side here. And on the daily, again, set up right at resistance. With many stocks in this sector showing the same position here, and some of the leaders have already broken out, all you need to see really is some follow through in some of these stocks, and that confirms that the sector really is moving higher in unison. Now, flipping over to these solar stocks, these stocks are heavily beat up at the bottom of a massive stage four downtrend, but the volume now is coming in, signaling a sudden change in supply and demand dynamics. Buyers are trying to really overpower sellers now. And a lot of these stocks, you've got plenty of room to run back to former resistance levels, where the stock has lots of room out of this recent low to kind of go on a run, at least to former support, which has turned into resistance. And then we'll see what happens from there. But very beat down. And you can see how massive this volume is. Biggest volume in 2 years in this stock, MAXN. On the daily, you can see the stock just picked up really at the end of the week last week. So just started its move this past week. So plenty of room here to really get back up to now it should be resistance now. And you've got this big gap down here. This would be a logical area for the stock to rally back to over the next few weeks. FSLR, this one is a former leader in the sector. This one had of all the stage four downtrends, this being a leader, had the minimal amount of damage. And you can see the volume perking up here already getting back to the 30-week moving average. So this one, in terms of relative strength, the best stock in the list. On the daily, again, just coming off the lows this week on an increase in volume. So a very fresh move for this sector. Finally, ENPH, biggest volume in 2 years again on this stock. Big move up off the 10-week moving average. Dropping down to the daily, again, you can see the volume has kind of picked up over the last couple weeks, but still right at the 30-week moving average. If we see follow-on breakout, another of the bellwethers kind of moving back into stage 2. So overall, heading into 2024, a couple beat down sectors that I think might actually be, major leading sectors, at least for the short term, coming out of these lows, because a lot of the other leading sectors are actually a little bit extended now after a big rally. So you're seeing some rotation into some beaten down stuff. And the end of a year is really the most, prominent time of year for the beaten down stuff to rally, because tax loss selling ends at the end of the year. And then all of a sudden, value buying comes in and pushes these beaten down sectors up, often in January when a new year starts.